Hey guys, Rad Dave here, and welcome to my tutorial on how to deal with soul. So I am starting a video series, which is a how-to series on how to deal with all of the strong characters in Guilty Gear Strive, and I figured the best place to start would be with this man here, Mr. Soul Badguy. It is no secret that Soul is an unbelievably strong character at the moment. Not only that, I think he frustrates people because he is unbelievably strong and he is quite easy to use. So his game plan is not hard to execute. People have described him as a gorilla for that reason. He just is able to kind of hit his buttons with his face and get victories. So for that reason, he's very much a hated character in the game right now. But hopefully after today's video, you'll better understand how to deal with Soul's belligerent pressure and be able to counter the character better. So the first area of Soul's game that I'm going to talk about is his far slash pressure. So Soul's far slash is, not to beat around the bush, pretty insane. This is it here. It is very far reaching, and actually the range of it extends quite far beyond his fist. It is also plus on block, and it has quick startup. It's 10 frame startup. Lastly, Soul's far slash actually combos into itself on counter hit. So as you can see here, and because the opponent is playing Soul, you just explode for getting hit. So what Soul players end up doing for this reason is that they'll just go far slash into far slash into far slash into far slash, and what they're fishing for you to try to counter poke with a slow button, and in doing so they will get the counter hit. So in order to show this, I am controlling the Soul, and I'm going to do far slash into far slash. I'm going to have Kai, I have Kai set to interrupt with a slow normal, his 2H, and we will see what happens. And just like that, you lost 60% of your life for trying to interrupt Soul pressure. So clearly this move can be hard to deal with, and it can feel very oppressive. So we are going to go over potential options that you have against this move. So the first thing you can do is, if you are in a neutral state, you can backdash. So as you can see, the second far slash is going to miss, and then Kai is going to be in a situation where he can then, after his backdash, actually whiff punish the far slash. However, backdashing is only going to be a reliable option if you're at mid-screen. If you're in the corner, your options are a bit limited. However, you do have options. So the first thing you can do is you can actually 6P. If you're confident that the player is going to do a far slash into far slash, 6P is going to beat that second far slash. The reason that 6P works is that 6P has upper body invincibility, which means that essentially your character's hurt box, which is the area that your character can be hurt, only applies to the belt down, essentially, if you are using 6P. So that means any move that comes in contact with the upper body of Kai is just going to be ignored while 6P is active. Additionally, far slash is a 10 frame startup move and is +2 on block, meaning if he does far slash into far slash, you're able to interrupt that if you have a button that is quicker than 8 frames of startup. So if it's 7 frames or below, it's going to be quicker, and you're going to be able to hit Soul out of the startup of far slash. So in order to show this, I have Kai's standing P, and as you can see, that reliably hit him out of far slash. If you would like to test with your character what buttons beat Soul out of far slash pressure, you can just set Soul to do multiple far slashes in a row, and then essentially after blocking one, test which buttons beat Soul. So for instance, I'm going to try to interrupt with Kai's stand K or 5K. As you can see, Kai's 5K is able to interrupt Soul's far slash pressure, and while I recommend going into training mode and actually testing out each of your buttons in order to determine if they will interrupt the pressure or not, I think that's important because you'll get the timing down as well as testing whether or not the move reliably interrupts. But if you don't want to do that, you can actually just go to dustloop.com and then look up your character, and it'll have all the frame data for all your moves. You can see exactly which moves are going to interrupt reliably, and then you can take those into your game plan. So there's a lot of things that Soul can do to actually counter your counter option. However, that mind game can only be played once you understand what options you have against your offense. If you just sit here all day and you just block and block and block and block, it doesn't really force Soul to play the mind game, and at that point he's already kind of won, right? So the next thing we're going to go over is Bandit Bringer in pressure. So Bandit Bringer is this move here. It is in overhead. It is minus on block, however, it is just barely minus on block, and we're going to talk about that more in detail. But it can be attacked onto the end of all of his strings, and it's a pretty good move. It can also be used in the air to change his jump arc, but we're not going to talk about that as much. We're going to talk more about Bandit Bringer in pressure. So Bandit Bringer itself is not necessarily the scariest move. Like I said, it is an overhead. However, it is minus on block. It's -2, which isn't super minus, but it is minus. And it doesn't do crazy amount of damage on its own. Additionally, it is a single hit, so you're not really going to hit confirm it into Roman cancel or anything like that for big meaty damage. So as you can see here with Kai, he can take a Bandit Bringer and it's not the end of the world, right? That's not a huge deal. The issue actually comes in if you block a Bandit Bringer and then Soul is able to take his turn back, and then that turn leads to crazy damage even though I dropped the combo. So why is Soul able to take his turn back? Well, the answer is pretty simple. Soul has the fastest move in the game. He has a 3-frame normal in his 5K. And with that being said, if he is -2 and he has a 3-frame normal, his normal is going to come out in 5 frames. That's what most characters' fastest button is. So in that way, at worst, Soul's 5K is going to trade with whatever button people are going to be throwing out after blocking the Bandit Bringer. So does that mean that you don't really have any options? You're not able to press any buttons after blocking a Bandit Bringer? Well, no, not quite. One option that you do have is you're able to throw. And the reason that you're able to throw is that throws are 2 frames on startup. They're actually your fastest input. And so if a Soul is going to do Bandit Bringer repeatedly, one thing you can do is throw them after they land. This can be tricky, especially if you are a bit late on the throw and the Soul player knows that you might throw. He can always backdash that and then counter you for your late throw attempt. However, this is a decently reliable option. Additionally, Bandit Bringer is an aerial move, so you are able to 6P him out of it. In saying this, this option can be kind of tough, and the reason that it can be kind of tough is that he can actually change the timing of his Bandit Bringer, so he can actually hold the input, and he just kind of pauses in the air. And because of that, if you 6P too early, he's just going to punish your 6P. What I think is the most reliable option is when you see him go for Bandit Bringer, you do a flawless defense on the Bandit Bringer, and then you duck immediately. The reason for that is that the faultless defense will push him back, and then if you duck, his 5K will actually whiff in front of you, and on whiff, his 5K is actually very bad. He can't cancel it into another button. He's just kind of stuck there, and you can actually pretty easily get a punish. As you can see, the 5K went directly over my head, and then I was able to punish that input. The reason that I think... So in summation, in order to deal with Bandit Bringer, one thing you can do is block it and then attempt to throw him. However, if you are late on the throw timing, then you can be throw baited into big damage. You can also try to 6P it. However, I find this option fairly unreliable as well, because the 6P is... The timing of the 6P can be difficult, especially if he delays his Bandit Bringer. So lastly, I feel like the best option is probably to try to faultless defense the Bandit Bringer itself, and then if you immediately duck, any sort of 5K or anything he does is going to go over your head, and then you're going to be able to pretty freely punish. So the next thing I'm going to go over is Fafnir pressure. And Fafnir is a pretty great move. So Fafnir is this guy here. And on hit, it's hit confirmable. On counter hit, I think it's his most damaging starter. Actually, it goes very far. And then additionally, if you block this move, it puts you into a guard break. So it does a ton of chip damage. And in addition, it puts Soul, or it causes Soul to be massively plus on block. So as you can see, even if you block this move, you're really not at any sort of advantage. If anything, you want to get out of the way of this move, or you want to do what I'm about to show you, which is throw him out of the move. 3, 2, 1. So as I mentioned, throws are very quick. They are 2 frames. So if someone goes for a special move and you are able, and there's a 2-frame gap before that special move hits you, as long as they're in range of the throw, they are going to get thrown out of their special move, and this is more or less guaranteed. So in order to show this, I have Soul set to a pretty common setup, which is to knock you down using Bandit Revolver and then do a meaty Bandit Bringer as you're waking up. And as you can see, I'm able to pretty easily throw him out of that Bandit Bringer. The important thing is that this is a tool that Souls use a lot to start their offense. If they are able to land a Bandit Revolver, it tends to be a bit of a snowball situation where they can kind of just, they have you in the corner, they're going to take the round from there. So this is a really good way of interrupting his pressure and making sure that A, you take the corner, and that B, the match didn't snowball and get out of hand. So the last thing that I'm going to go over is going to be some gunflame pressure. In particular, I'm going to be going over 6/ into gunflame. This is something that I consistently see people not know how to deal with. However, it is absolutely 100% a gimmick. Every character is capable of getting out of this. So what I'm talking about is this here. If you're facing a Soul player that does this a lot, know that after you block the 6S, you can jump the gunflame and actually punish it. You don't even have to do an IAD, you'll just be able to punish it normally. So I'll show that again. Oh, as I miss it. So as you can see, just by jumping the gunflame and using pretty much any jump normal, you're actually able to counter hit Soul out of the gunflame recovery. And so this is something that while Soul has other options off of his 6/, Soul players do tend to go for gunflame a lot. And if they're just kind of autopiloting and doing this every time and just hoping to start their offense and be plus on block, then jumping after the 6S is definitely something to put into your game plan in order to stop them from doing that. If you're able to stop Soul from doing that, it stops actually a lot of his offense. So that's it. Yeah, hopefully what we went over helps. Clearly there's other things about Soul's gameplay that make him good. That is not at all everything that Soul has. However, I picked these things because I've actually played a pretty decent amount of Soul, and these are things that definitely have counterplay to them, and I don't see people online, at least, effectively doing the counterplay. What I think is happening is I think there's a bit of a lack of knowledge on how to deal with this character, and because he's so frustrating, it's not exactly motivating to learn how to beat him. So hopefully this video at least lets you know your options against some of what Soul's able to do. If you thought this video was informative or you thought this video was helpful, please consider liking and subscribing. And please stay tuned for the next video, breaking down the next strong character. And also, while you're at it, stay rad.